Hi, I'm Jerry, 36, and last Sunday I found out my mom thinks love is measured in deeds she didn't pay for and weddings I'm not invited to. She said, "I know you spent $720,000 to save our house, but we're signing it over to your sister as a wedding gift." Then Emma looked me dead in the eye and added, "And don't come to my wedding." I smiled. Not kindly. Then I said, "Dad, should I tell them? Or will you?" His fork dropped like a gavel. That was the beginning. Let me back up. I'm the eldest. The orthopedic surgeon. The fixer. You've probably met someone like me, the guy who answers the midnight phone calls, pays the emergency invoices, and gets guilt-tripped for not showing up to every brunch because he works too much. Emma, 28, is the golden child. Always was. She could torch a family car and get handed a commemorative charm bracelet. I used to think it was favoritism. Now I realize it's delusion dressed up in matching Pinterest boards and bridal registries. The house in question, the one with the warped front step and the Elia bushes out front, was on the verge of foreclosure 6 years ago. Mom called sobbing while I was elbow deep in someone's knee. "They're going to take it, Jerry. Your father won't survive losing this home." So I wired the money. All $720,000 of it. Not in one check. In a slow bleed of transfers and late-night deposits. Every month a new emergency. Property taxes. Second mortgage I didn't know existed. Contractor liens. The emotional blackmail disguised as, "We didn't know who else to call." I paid it. But I made Dad sign something. An occupancy agreement. Standard stuff. In exchange for bailing them out, I put the house into an LLC I control. They could live there rent-free, with 2 conditions: don't encumber the property, and no events without my permission. He signed it while Mom was out running errands. She never knew. Until last Sunday. At dinner. Over roast chicken and sweet wine, she dropped the news like it was a Hallmark moment. "We're signing the house to Emma and Zach as their wedding gift." Emma raised her glass like she'd just been named heir to a coastal estate. "And don't come to the wedding," she added. "It's for immediate family." I looked at Dad. "Should I tell them?" I asked. "Or will you?" He froze. His fork hit porcelain. My mother blinked like she hadn't heard me right. Emma scoffed. "What now, Jerry? Another lecture? You always make things about yourself." I pulled out my phone. Swiped to the album labeled House. Laid it between the salt and pepper shakers. First photo, county deed record. Grantee, our home LLC. Second, notarized occupancy agreement with Dad's signature. Third, screenshots of every wire transfer. April 4th, $185,000. June 19th, $152,000. September 1st, $210,000. A slow death by family obligations. Mom stared at the screen like she'd found a ghost in her purse. "What is this?" "The truth," I said. "You don't own this house." "I do." "Through the LLC? You've been living here under a lease agreement." Emma laughed. "You fake this." "This is fake." She tapped the screen like that would smudge county records. "Dad?" I asked. He closed his eyes. The silence had weight. "It's true," he said. Mom gasped. "You went behind my back?" "I saved our home," I said. "And I let you stay because you're my parents. But you don't get to gift this house to Emma like I'm some invisible wallet." Emma stood. "You're stealing our inheritance." I didn't raise my voice. It wasn't an inheritance. It was foreclosure. And I paid to keep this roof over your head. Zach, her fiancé, finally spoke. "Man, this is so dramatic." I pushed my chair back. "It's not drama. It's a boundary." And I left before my hands could shake again. The next day, I emailed the lease addendum. Utilities in their name. No events over 20 people. No commercial rentals. No family gifts of real estate they don't own. Emma called me 6 times. I didn't answer. The wedding was in 1 week. The rehearsal dinner? Scheduled for the backyard. I made one call, to the tent rental company. Told them the tenants didn't have authorization for events. Sent over the lease. Emma texted me, "You'll regret this." I texted back, I already do. She posted a story. Haters can't stop love. They strung up lights in the backyard. The wedding day came. At 11:30 a.m., as I scrubbed out of a surgery, my phone buzzed. 60 missed calls. And the text from Dad, "The police are here. It's about the house." That's where this really starts. Here's the thing about being the responsible one. The moment you stop being predictable, the whole structure topples. At 12:04 p.m., I finally answered Dad's call. He was whispering, frantic, half out of breath. "She called the cops," he said. "On you." "Excuse me?" Emma told the photographer the house was hers. They started setting up in the living room. The neighbors complained. There were cars on the lawn. Police came to ask who owned the property. And? Emma said it's hers. Mom backed her up. I told them the truth. That the house is owned by the LLC. He paused, then added, "The officer wants to talk to you." So I spoke to him. Officer Ramirez. Courteous. Embarrassed. "We have a dispute over occupancy and permissions," he said. "Your sister claimed she had rights as the homeowner, but county records say otherwise." I confirmed it all. Emailed him the documents, the deed, the lease, the occupancy rules. No events over 20 people. No commercial activity. And I gave him written permission to enforce it. He sighed and said, "Understood. We'll be dispersing the crowd." By 12:40, I'd scrubbed back into another oar. A fractured wrist, minor, but I needed something technical, something with clarity. Steel pins and angles, not emotional landmines. When I came out, I had a text from Emma. A selfie. In her wedding dress. Sitting on the curb. Mascara streaked. Middle finger up. The caption, "You ruined this." I stared at that image for a full minute. She looked like someone had popped her fantasy bubble with a scalpel. Then I typed, "You chose a lie and an audience. I chose the truth and a boundary." No reply. That night, Dad called again. They moved the photos to the church. Started the ceremony late. It was tense. How tense? Zach's parents said we were ungrateful. Emma says she never wants to see you again. I didn't ask what Mom said. I didn't need to. Instead, I said, "I'm sorry it had to be today." He sighed. "I'm sorry it had to be at all." 1 week later, I dropped off a manila folder. Title, "What Living Here Means." Dad met me at the door. Mom didn't appear. There were no roast chickens or fake smiles. Just coffee and quiet. The lease was clear. $1 a year. Conditions firm. Utilities in their name. No events. No alterations. No loans. 2 violations equals lease terminated. Dad signed. His pen trembled, but he didn't flinch. And then Mom appeared. Arms crossed, mouth tight. "You're proud of yourself," she spat. "No," I said. "I'm done with myself. With what I've become in this house. You'll regret this," she said. "When we're gone and you've got no family left." I nodded slowly. "Maybe. But I'll regret more the years I lost trying to prove I was worth respect." I left before she could answer. And for the first time in years I didn't feel like the villain. I felt like a man who just set a bone straight and finally let it heal. Midpint. That's what this is. The place where the calm breaks, where the twist doesn't come from the sky but from your own reflection. The silence was louder than the wedding meltdown. Emma went dark on every channel. No posts. No calls. No birthday wishes. Zach blocked me on Venmo and Instagram like we were in a custody battle over Wi-Fi passwords. Mom went nuclear on Facebook. She posted a Bible verse about the wages of sin and captioned it, "Some children repay love with lawsuits." Then she tagged no one, which is how you know it's about you. Dad? He stayed mostly quiet. Which, honestly, worried me more. I sent the new lease terms. I set utilities to their names. I canceled the emergency family credit card Emma had used for unexpected venue expenses, which turned out to be a luxury porta-potty deposit. 1 week passed. Then 2. Then I got the email. Subject, unauthorized event report. From Evergreen Tents. To owner, 114 Remington LLC. Hi, just confirming we've canceled your repeat order for the December event due to previous tenant violation. Please let us know if there's any change of ownership. I read it 3 times. December event? I checked the county portal. That's when I saw it. A pending permit application. 114 Remington. Listed under Emma's name. Purpose: holiday engagement bash. She was planning another party. On my property. Without asking. Again. I called Dad. He picked up on the second ring. Please don't yell, he said. Then tell me you didn't know. He didn't answer. Dad? She didn't tell me, he said. I saw the flyer on the fridge. I thought she was joking. I sent him the application screenshot. Not joking, I said. Do you want to live in that house? Yes. Then it stops now. And that's when the second storm hit. Because Emma filed a petition. Yep. A petition in county court to invalidate the occupancy agreement. Claiming undue influence. Emotional manipulation. Fraud. She wanted the house. Legally. A judge scheduled a hearing. 6 weeks out. I called my attorney. I paid the retainer. The calm I had been building? The quiet? Gone. I started waking up at 3 a.m. again. Checking bank accounts. Checking cameras. The porch light flickered one night, and I jumped like I was 14 again, waiting for Dad to yell from the other room. Except this time, I was the adult. And someone was trying to sue me over a house I'd already saved. The emotional gravity of it all, it felt like post-op day 1 on a bad tibial plateau. Everything stiff, swollen, raw. So I did the thing I hadn't done in years. I said no out loud. Not in my head. Not in an email. Out loud. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror and practiced it. No. No, Emma. No, I will not pretend this is normal. No, Mom. No, I don't owe you comfort when you're lying. It sounds stupid. But the first time it came out, I almost cried. Not because I was angry, but because I realized how long I'd gone without hearing myself speak the truth. I'm Jerry. And I saved our house. I'm not asking for thanks. I'm demanding respect. And if I have to go to court for it, so be it. The hearing date loomed like a cloud full of glass. I kept thinking maybe she'd back down. Maybe this was just a bluff, a tantrum dressed in paperwork. But nope. Emma served me officially, through a courier, to my office. Reception said. A guy in a suit left this envelope. He looked like an expensive threat. Inside, 12 pages of family revisionist history. It claimed I pressured Dad into signing the occupancy agreement. That I exploited his emotional vulnerability to take control of the house. That I weaponized financial assistance to isolate and harm my sister and parents. I stared at the words like they were x-rays from a different patient, technically clear, but completely wrong. Then came the kicker. She attached photos from her wedding day. The one where she was sobbing on the curb. Her caption? See the emotional impact of his cruelty. My attorney, Michelle, skimmed it with one eyebrow up. She's either a genius manipulator or legally illiterate. She's neither, I said. She's just used to getting what she wants when she yells. We filed a countersuit. Breach of contract. Attempted fraudulent conveyance. Petition for injunctive relief. I hated every second of it. Because lawsuits are messy. But family lawsuits? They rot your soul. Mom called me that night. How could you? She said, already crying. I'm defending myself. You're destroying your sister. No. She's doing that just fine on her own. Dad didn't say a word. A week later, I drove to the house. The porch lights were off. The front steps still had that wobble. Inside, the same hallway where we took Easter photos now had a sign taped to the wall. Private family event, no entry without invite. Emma's doing. I knocked anyway. Dad opened the door. His face looked hollow, like he was being haunted by his own spine. We can't keep going like this, I said. He nodded, then stepped aside and let me in. I handed him a new copy of the lease. Highlighted the violations. I need you to sign this acknowledgement, I said. That the house is not to be used for events. No permit applications. No guests over the limit. No deception. He signed. Then he looked at me and asked the one question I wasn't prepared for. Do you hate us? I blinked. No, I said honestly. But I hate what I let myself become trying to please you. He didn't argue. He just said, I miss when we all sat at this table and laughed. I looked around. At the walls. At the framed photo of Emma in her graduation cap. You remember those nights differently than I do. And I walked out. As I drove home, I finally understood something simple but brutal. You can love someone and still say, not like this. The courthouse smelled like old air and bad decisions. Emma showed up in heels too tall for decorum and a coat that probably cost more than my first car. Her lawyer looked like he billed by the syllable. My lawyer, Michelle, wore glasses, a navy pantsuit, and a look that could curdle milk. Let's get this done, she said. The judge was a man in his 60s who'd clearly seen enough of people turning Thanksgiving arguments into legal complaints. He flipped through the file, sighed, and said, Miss Wilson, you are claiming ownership of a property deeded to an LLC, yes? Emma nodded confidently. I lived there. It was always our family home. My brother took advantage of our parents. And you signed a petition stating your father was manipulated? Yes. He didn't know what he was signing. Interesting, the judge said, then turned to Michelle. Your response? Michelle stood without fanfare and placed a stack of documents on the table. Your Honor, here's the notarized occupancy agreement, 6 years of wire transfers, county deed records, and communications showing my client's full transparency. There's also a photo of the plaintiff hosting an unauthorized event on the property 2 months after signing a cease-use order. The judge flipped through it. Looked up. Miss Wilson, were you aware your father signed this agreement? She fumbled. He didn't tell me. But it's invalid. Family homes can't be stolen. Michelle raised an eyebrow. There's been no theft. Only documentation. Emma's lawyer tried spinning it, something about undue stress, family reliance, cultural expectations, but the judge was done. This isn't a theft. It's a boundary your family doesn't like. But the law doesn't care about comfort. He slammed the file closed. Petition denied. Injunction upheld. Any further unauthorized use of the property will result in legal penalties. Emma froze. Her lips parted like she was about to cry or scream. I couldn't tell which. I stood. Quietly packed my folder. On my way out, she hissed behind me. You humiliated us. I stopped at the door. Turned slightly. No, I said. I protected myself. What you feel is called consequence. And I walked out into the cold November air. At home, I sat on the edge of my bed for a long time. Not angry. Not even relieved. Just still. Later that week, I dropped off a second copy of the ruling to the house. Dad met me on the porch. Mom didn't come out. She's not speaking to me either, he said, trying to joke. I handed him the folder. This ends it. He nodded. I'm proud of you, he said quietly. I just wish it didn't take this much pain. Me too. We sat in silence for a moment, the porch creaking beneath us. Then he said, I replaced the porch step. It's solid now. I smiled. For the first time in months, maybe. Good, I said. It's about time something in this house held weight. 2 months passed. No new lawsuits. No text from Emma. No family group chat resurrections. It was quiet. Not peaceful, not yet, but quiet in that way hospitals get at 2 a.m., when the machines are still beeping, but no one's panicking anymore. I kept the mortgage current. I stopped the emergency transfers. I forwarded the utility bills to Dad, not to be cruel, just to let him learn the true cost of maintenance. He paid them. Late once. But he paid. Then, one evening, I got a letter. Not an email. Not a court notice. A letter. Thick envelope. My name written in big looping cursive. Inside, a note from my mother. Jerry. I don't know how to say this, so I'll just say it. I was angry because I felt powerless. Watching your sister fall apart, and your father agree to something behind my back, it made me feel like the world was moving without me. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just didn't know how to say thank you without it feeling like giving up control. You were right to draw a line. I just wish you hadn't had to. We're not good at apologies. But I'm trying. I made your favorite pie. It's in the fridge. Come by if you want. No legal terms. No guilt bombs. Just words. A note from someone who'd finally stopped writing scripts and started speaking like a person. I did go. Not right away. But eventually. Dad opened the door, stepped aside. No porch lights. No drama. Just the sound of a sitcom on low volume and the scent of cinnamon. I sat at the kitchen table. Mom set the pie down. Didn't speak right away. When she did, it was small. You looked tired at the hearing, she said. I was proud. But I couldn't say it then. You don't have to now, I said. I want to, she replied. We ate. It wasn't like the old days. It was better. Because it was honest. Because no one was pretending. Before I left, she handed me a folded page. A copy of a Venmo payment, to Dad, for half the electric bill. I figured, she said, if I want to keep living here, I should start paying attention. She paused. And maybe earn my spot. I nodded. That's all I ever wanted. When I got home, Emma had texted me. One line. We're moving out next month. I hope the house doesn't collapse under all your righteousness. I stared at it. Thought of all the things I could say. Then deleted it. No reply. Some walls don't need to be rebuilt. That weekend, I went for a run and passed by a hardware store. Picked up a porch light bulb and a new latch for the gate. Dropped them off in a paper bag on the steps. A note inside, fix it right this time. No shortcuts. And I smiled the whole walk home. Because for once, I wasn't fixing things for them. I was just finishing what I started, for me.